Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Welcome to a special episode of the... Welcome to a special episode... I can't do it. Wait. Oh, okay, stop. Okay. It's going to take us ages. Welcome to a special episode of the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Now, I've kept this one on the down low because I wasn't sure if it would actually go ahead or not, mainly because I don't really get much of a chance to speak to my guests today. In fact, the 1 hour that we have per day to possibly communicate with each other is spent in silence. Mainly because we're both too knackered to even string a sentence together most nights. And tonight is no different. We're recording this at 9 p.m. after the usual bedtime battle with our 5-year-old. And I've had to send my guest out of the room to record this introduction 3 times because he couldn't be serious and was making me laugh. But anyway, I brought him back in the room now, and today I am joined by my husband, the infamous Dave, who has agreed to record this episode for us in an attempt to tell us what it's like being dragged along on the roller coaster ride of self-employment, but also to help you as well if you have got a partner who is on this roller coaster ride with you. Maybe you're struggling to convince your other half to support your dreams, or you're looking for some survival tips as a couple when things get tough. How to celebrate the wins, keeping the faith. Or maybe you're doing this alone and you couldn't give a toss about the husband insights. Yeah, that doesn't matter, because I guarantee you that there will be someone in your life that you will be able to relate this episode to. Plus, Dave, my husband, is quite hilarious, so I'm sure you are going to leave with a good laugh, if nothing else. But before we get started, if you are a regular listener to my podcast, you'll know that I talk a lot about Dave and the dramas of our life. And there's probably one question that is on everyone's lips when they heard that you, Dave, were coming on your wife's podcast. And that is, how the hell did you manage to choke on a blob of toothpaste?
My God, that's definitely a challenging starting question, that one.
It's only going to get harder.
The honest answer is I don't know. I think I just was brushing my teeth, and then I breathed in, and then the toothpaste was still pasty, and then it just went down my throat, and then just got stuck, and I panicked.
And say, thank God your wife was around to save your life.
I know, honestly, I just remember thinking, right, I've got to stop panicking now, otherwise I'm probably going to die. And then when I stopped panicking, things got better a little bit.
So I didn't save your life?
You did. You absolutely
hell yeah, I did. I called 911, I was going to say. I called 999. I'm watching too many American programs.
Yeah, well, I could definitely hear the heart pumping in my ears.
You were purple.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only just been able to talk about this now. It's been a few months, but honestly, it was so traumatic. And somehow, throughout all the screaming and the panic, our 5-year-old, who wakes when you just step on a floorboard outside her room, she slept through the whole thing.
She's got a history of doing that. When the fire alarm goes off, somehow she stays asleep. I don't know how she does it. And yet when I walk up and go for a wee, Mum! Please.
Yeah, she knows. I'm so glad that she was asleep, though. God, can you imagine? Well, seriously, though, thanks for agreeing to do this. I'm not going to lie, we've poured a beer out, haven't we, to help us through.
Yeah, bit of Dutch courage.
Yeah, and I think it's the only way to kind of get him away from his PlayStation for the night.
I was actually on my MIDI. I was doing my music, but yeah.
He was making a song. But, when he came in from work, I said to him, "Oh, you ready for the podcast tonight?" And he just looked at me, rolled his eyes, and was like, "Oh, Jesus." I could just see it, thinking I'm going to miss out on my PS5 time.
It was a rough day. It was a rough day today.
But
you know what? It's fine. I'll do this for you lot.
Do it for the fans.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, but it is a bit weird, isn't it? Well,
it has been interviewed by a wife, yeah.
We'll see how it unfolds, yeah. We should probably say that Dave's language can be a bit colourful, so maybe listen to this one without little ears around, or your headphones in, whatever. But I'll try and edit out any unnecessary profanities, but sometimes the situation calls for a good swear word, doesn't it?
Oh, aye.
So we're going to try and keep it in context so we don't cause any offence. But first of all, I think we should give people a little bit of background about how we met, because you met me as an entrepreneur, didn't you?
Yes.
And you've been through it all with me, yeah? So you didn't really know me any other way, because I think I was 3 years into Vintage Tweed, my stationery business, when we first met. And you should have known that I was a determined go-getter, because I actually asked you out, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So it was a bold move.
It was a bold move.
Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, I'll tell
Go
you.
for it.
I just worked for IKEA. I didn't really have anything going for me at the time, probably. So... yeah, I was a retail assistant at IKEA. I was good at it, but...
you could name every product in IKEA off by heart.
I could name the codes of them. It was bloody ridiculous. But, yeah, I'd just come off a lad's holiday, and it was a heavy holiday. And I even bought a book to fly back off this holiday just to get home because I hated it that much. But anyway, after recovery, getting back to IKEA, talking to my friend on one of the aisles, and then Joanne comes over and asks for some help with a wardrobe. Now, little did I know that this whole story was just bloody made up and that she had no intention of buying a wardrobe. Apparently, she knew me from the year before.
I've been stalking you for about a year. And I asked you out.
You asked me out, yeah, on the second time you came, because on the first time, I was a bit paranoid. I thought she might have just been a mystery shopper trying to get me in trouble through seduction. Well, you don't know.
You don't
know this day and age, do you?
Anyway, I asked you out. And... you were convinced I was a mystery shopper. Obviously, I wasn't. I just fancied you, and I wanted to know if you were single. So I thought, oh, bugger it. I'm just going to ask him at the end of the day. I've got nothing to lose. I think I'd just turned 30. I was a bit pissed off with the whole dating scene myself. So I went up to him. I said, oh, excuse me. Are you single by any chance? And what did you say?
Yeah, I'm free on Friday.
There you go. Straight up,
just like Dave. Just like that.
Yeah, no, we didn't play any games. Straight down the line. Okay.
But then I had to run off into a room and tell my mates. I shit a brick after that. I was honestly, my heart was pumping and.
What, you couldn't believe it happened?
Well, you should have seen the people I used to date. So it's like when you came along, it was like, God, I can't even contemplate this one. Like.
Oh God! Well, thanks.
All right, don't worry about it.
But yeah, when we met, I was well into the swing of things with Vintage Tweed. 3 years in, I was doing well. But, you knew what you were getting into here. You knew that I was self-employed. It may be a rocky road. At the time, it was quite stable. Business was good. It was pre-COVID. The wedding industry was booming. And, I was making some decent money. I was living on my own at that point when we met. And I think we'd only been together probably about a year when we decided to buy a house. We were financially stable enough at that point. But I know that you used to worry a lot about the financial insecurity of actually being self-employed, didn't you? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely it was.
But how did you cope? Like, how did you cope with the fact that there was no guarantee that I was going to bring you money every month? Like, I always managed to. But how did you cope going into a mortgage with someone that didn't have that financial stability that obviously you would get from a normal paid job? Did you just keep the faith? Cross your fingers and hope for the best?
I crossed my fingers and hope for the best, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say that I was coping. I probably mentally wasn't coping at the time. But you either do it or you don't.
Exactly.
And I had to just go in.
I remember having a conversation with you in our old flat. And I said to you, you have to take a chance in life. And that is basically my motto for everything, because if you don't do it, you will never know. And now we're, 8 years in living in this house, and we've got Eden, and we're happy. And I'm not saying it's been easy, as we will find out shortly, and I'm sure Dave will tell you. But, we've done it. And I think that you have to have an element of risk-taking in you when you are self-employed, but also when you are the partner of someone who is self-employed as well, because you've got to be willing to ride this roller coaster. Like I say, it's very up and down. It's frightening at times. It's hair-raising, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, you can't be swallowed by doubt. If you're worried about everything, you stop yourself from doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really important today for this episode just to get your insights as the person, on this ride. I mean, I'm dragging you along for it. You haven't got a choice now. You've married me, so you're in it. You ain't getting out of it that easy.
I know.
You've got no choice if you want to be with me. But I want to talk about what it's like from your point of view. Some husband insights that are maybe going to help other people who might be feeling a little bit stuck, or maybe they're having some issues with their partner and convincing them that this is their dream and this is what they want to do. So I want to talk to you about how you feel as a person on the other end, and living this life with a creative, crazy entrepreneur.
Well, it's hard to put in words really, but I would say it's definitely worrying on days. You can spiral. You can go into like a mental sort of like rabbit hole or whatever. But then there's days when it happens and you think, right, okay, well it's not that hard. It's taking a little bit of time just to hit off. It's up and down. Like Joanne says, there is the toughs and there is the positives. And you've got to be a committed individual to get through it, I'd say. It's knowing that commitment, because if you're not, there's no point in doing it, in my opinion. If you're not a committed person, you may as well go and get employed. But if you are a committed person, then you're made for that side of things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what would you say is the best thing about self-employment from what you have seen living with me?
There's definitely perks, the freedom. If Joanne wasn't self-employed, I don't know where that would leave me in terms of like the logistics of picking our daughter up and dropping her off.
And also random days when she just can't face going in. We know that Eden suffers a lot from anxiety, and there are days that she just wakes up and goes, I can't go to school, mummy, or, she doesn't feel well. And you just think, how would we actually do this if both of us were in a full-time paid role?
I think the reality is we probably wouldn't.
We probably wouldn't, no.
Yeah.
So having the freedom, you'd say, is a massive positive, isn't it? Is there anything else you'd say is the best thing about being self-employed from what you can see through your eyes?
So I think it's the creative aspect of going like, I want to make this today. And just being able to do it. And, we're in such a digital world now that it is possible. Everything's very accessible for people now. So I think that's a definite perk of being self-employed.
It's so possible, isn't it? Anything is possible now. And this is what I like to tell a lot of the ladies that I work with, that you can do whatever the hell you want now. Like, if you have got a dream and there's something you really want to do, you can make it happen. We have so many tools at our fingertips.
That it's very accessible for any user to get to know. So, like, for example, YouTube is a good little platform for people to emphasise the business. But
well, actually,
yeah,
I do want to get onto YouTube shortly because Dave is a YouTube expert. I don't know anybody who watches as much YouTube as you. Yeah, and I'm talking about from the minute he wakes up to going for a poo to going to bed. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, so he's going to talk a little bit about YouTube and how it can help your business, because he's always banging on at me about it. And I know that I need to probably invest more time in it than I do, but I literally haven't got any more hours in the day. I'm going to let him pet your head in about that, okay? But not yet. Save it. Okay, because I just want to ask you what the hardest part is about being married to an entrepreneur.
The hardest bit is not seeing an immediate result, I think. That's my most honest opinion, I think. And the waiting, and it feels like you're just waiting, but you're not. Obviously, there's a lot of work goes into it. I think that's probably the worst one for me.
Yeah, I'd say the patience is, it's hard for me, but I'd imagine as the person who is just watching it, you just want things to happen. One, for your partner, because you want to see them succeed, but also for practical reasons. Like, we need money coming in. As people do, there are bills to pay. We need to put food on the table. So having that patience can be really challenging, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that people actually realise what it's like running a business?
No, I don't.
Unless you
honestly,
live with someone who runs their business, you've
yeah,
got no clue, have you?
yeah, it takes a lot of like educating.
It's not as simple as just going, I want to start a business and boom, it's done. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of things that you have to do behind the scenes to make it work. I'm not talking about, a social media post on Facebook every day. I'm talking about real hard grafting to get your business seen and out there. And I don't think people understand, particularly the people who are looking in from the outside, how much work you put into it when you run a business. I mean, what do I do in an evening? Like, how do I spend my evenings every single night?
Literally just with your notebook out, you just spend a lot of time researching, a lot of time.
I've always got my notepad out.
Yeah.
I've always got my laptop. Sometimes I can be sat there and Dave just goes to me, will you just put something on Netflix? Will you just relax and watch telly? And I'm like, well, I get 1 hour every night to myself, which, yeah, I probably should. And some nights I do. But most of the time, I'm either researching for a podcast or I'm writing one or I'm emailing a client. I'm always working. And that's just the nature of being self-employed, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And as an husband, you look at it and you think, God, I just wish you'd relax a bit because it can't be good for your mindset. But obviously, it needs to be done as well. So it's finding the balance.
I mean, we've sacrificed a lot, put it that way, haven't we? In terms of time together, the luxuries that we used to have before Eden, not just time, but little holidays, trips away.
Mm-hmm.
Now all our extra money that we have got does go on our daughter, but that is the same for a lot of people, when money is tight. But you do have to make sacrifices, I think, and you have to be prepared for that if you're going to be with somebody who hasn't got that financial stability that maybe you would have with somebody who's in a paid role. So, okay, I think we're going to move on to something that I'm dying to know, right? Right, so, there he goes, opening his beer. Obviously feels like he's going to need it for this next part. But I want to ask you a few questions now, just to see exactly if you know or what you know about me and my business, all right? It's going to be a bit fun, so don't worry. It's not a test. It's really. But I just want to see if you're actually listening to me. You know what's been going on for the past 18 months since I started Her Handmade Hustle. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain to me what my business is in your own words in 60 seconds? Go.
Right, so she's a self-employed creative business coach. She teaches people how to start up their business careers, but it's specifically within the creative sector, such as like crafting, painting, art, that kind of thing. And then basically, she's also got a little side hustle as well with her friend called Match Made in Business, and they do like little sort of events in the countryside currently. Like, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Right, that was 30 seconds. Little events in the countryside.
Yeah, let's go back on that one.
Anyway, you didn't do too bad, okay? You did describe quite well exactly what my business is. Who do I help?
You help people that are just starting out in the businesses, people that just need that little bit of assistance just getting off the ground. Because really, honestly, who actually knows what they're doing when they first start a business up? They don't, do they?
No.
So,
you just need someone to help them, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't have a clue.
This is why I don't think you're quite out to be self-employed. We'll have this discussion later.
But I would like to be a YouTuber, though.
What do I offer, Dave? Tell me what sort of services I offer.
You offer 30-minute free sort of like get to know you session.
Yeah, tip.
So that's like your initial, that's what you get by default, really, before actually purchasing any services. But the services you do is like your 60-minute, what is it called? Keyword research sessions.
Almost right, 45 minutes, but yeah, keyword research session.
Keyword research sessions, and then you've got the actual 4 week, what is it called? 4 week services.
We're sweating now.
Like a plan.
I don't know what the hell you're on about.
Like a plan to sort of like get.
I don't know whose business you're talking about. 4-week plan. No.
All right then, 6-week plan.
No.
8-week
There's
plan.
no plans.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got the pick and mix, business pick and mix support.
That's it.
Where they can pick different topics and they can choose what it is what they're stuck on and I'll help them with.
That's it.
Okay, right.
That's it. That's the one. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say.
Right, now, I just want you to answer this question honestly, right? Can you tell everybody what my typical work day looks like?
Okay, so our little one will get into our bed at about 4:30 in the morning. Then she'll keep us awake, kicking and scratching and all that. And then we'll get up about 6:45, get our kid ready for school, And then Joanne takes her to school, and then she comes back, she starts work straight away.
Hang on, you forgot about getting caught up with the school run and the mums who
constantly talk. Yeah, she's always wanting to chat with her. The problem is she's too popular. It's her own fault. I keep telling her. She don't bloody listen.
just tell me. He tells me not to be so friendly.
I make myself not social, me. People look at me, they think I'm just like this terror. But actually, I'm a really nice guy, I promise you. I just sort of grunt at people.
You just don't like people.
I just pretend I don't like. I do like people. I just don't want them all mithering me. So
At 9 o'clock in the morning. Right, so I'm home from the school run. I walk in through the front door. What happens next?
Make a brew.
I do make a brew.
You read a book.
I do not read a book. I haven't read a book for 6 years.
Okay. You watch Sex and the City.
I do not watch Sex. Cheeky sword.
You go upstairs, start writing some emails.
Yeah, just writing some emails. Okay, yeah, do some typing on the computer. You know, fanning around with the press releases, as Bridget Jones would say.
It's tiring, that typing, isn't it?
It is
really
tiring.
is tiring.
Yeah, I do a lot of typing. Anything else?
Chatting to your mate.
Oh my God. Right. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of chatting going on. Not to my mates, to my clients. So this comes from the man who works from home and is demanding brews every 10, 15 minutes.
I'd just like to say I don't demand anything. It's just that when Joanne asks, I always say yeah.
You can drink so much coffee in one day, it's ridiculous. Never ask someone if they want a brew. Someone like Dave, anyway, because they'll always say yes.
Well, it's like that in the office, you know. They're all like meerkats. Someone says brew, the cups go up like the hailing the king or something. Oh, hail the brew.
It says you want a brew and
right.
the cup goes up.
I was only asking because I just wanted to know if one or two people. I didn't want to do 20.
Oh, God. I do not miss that about working in an office. Oh, the bloody brew runs. Absolutely bane of my life, that was. So what's one thing that I'm always talking about or doing when it comes to my business, would you say?
You're always talking about when the next person needs to pay you. You're always like...
Listen, I can't help it. It's my Jewish blood, you know?
What? Yeah.
I like to chase the pound.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that one.
It's the business at the end of the day.
I think at the end of the day, people do need to be committed, you know. You can't expect everything for nothing, especially not now anyway, but like what you're offering is pretty damn good.
Thanks.
Like it's, when you look at other, honestly, coaches and you see how much they charge, it is a lot of money. And people that are first starting up, they can't afford that.
No, exactly. And I sympathise with that because I was in that boat too. And I do try and make my services affordable for that reason. I've got a question for you.
Yep.
Have you ever pretended to be interested in something that you just didn't understand?
Yeah.
You didn't even hesitate.
Yeah. Right, listen, lads. What you'll find is, at first, you'll listen to every word, but then once you start hearing the same thing over and over again, then you'll be like, you can't help it. It just happens.
You just check out.
Like, it's like you're watching telly in your head or something.
I often try and tell Dave my ideas, and I can see him literally just check out the second I go, oh, can I just run something by you? And he goes, yeah, you can do, yeah. And he's just staring off into the distance. And he's nodding occasionally, and he's looking like he's listening. But actually, he's thinking about what he could be doing other than listening to me, which usually involves his PlayStation. Oh, correct?
God.
Yeah. It's hard when you are living with a particularly creative person. We have so many ideas flying around our brain all the time, and sometimes we just need someone to bounce them off. And the partner usually, unfortunately, gets the shit end of the stick and has to be that person that has to listen to all of our balmy ideas.
Aye.
Which is why I decided that it would be a great move for me to be a mentor, because then people can do that to me. I don't mind listening to people's balmy ideas because I help them make it a reality, you know, rather than just pretending I want to be somewhere else.
Do you feel like I'm supportive enough?
Of course I do.
Really?
Right, I'm not going to lie. There are times when I feel your worry quite heavily, and that's fine, because I understand why. You know, we've got bills to pay and stuff, but have I ever let you down yet?
No, you haven't.
It has been a close call on a number of occasions. You know, there's times when I've not made the mortgage payments or the food money that week. But ultimately, when you look at it as a whole, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
It's getting there, yeah. Because if you think about a year ago, well, you weren't making anything really, were you? You weren't. You spent all your time networking, as in like getting involved in conversations on social medias and picking people up that way. But yeah, I mean, did you ever feel like giving up at any point?
Yeah,
You did.
I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Had a bit of
No, but I mean, like proper jacking it in. You know. Like,
yeah, I've come really close. Remember that week when I said I was going on strike? It wasn't even
yeah,
that
but I
long
thought you were
ago.
just joking.
No, I didn't do any work all week because I was so pissed off with everything.
Oh yeah, that week. Yeah, I remember.
I remember you say, I said, I'm going on strike, Dave, and you just looked at me like, okay, well, what does that involve? Like, just don't talk to me about work. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to even do anything to do with work, and I just clean the house and I watch TV. And it was great. And actually, I got 3 new clients that week.
You did, because I think you gave yourself a mental break, didn't you?
Exactly. And that's really important when you're a creative entrepreneur, particularly, because, again, our minds are so full all the time. But I was asking myself a question the other day, right? And I was thinking, when was the last time that I did nothing for my business? And I don't mean about the week that I went on strike. I mean, prior to that. Probably never.
No, you don't stop. Like,
I don't stop.
You don't stop, and it drives me bloody balmy sometimes. You know, it's like just chow.
I know, and I get that, but that's just the way I operate, and I can't rest until I've got everything done. Which, to be fair, your to-do list is never empty, is it? Especially when you work for yourself. But I've got a busy mind, and I'm stealing those words from our daughter, who also says to me, "Mummy, my mind's so busy all the time." So I think we have that in common.
Yeah.
And we can't switch off very easily. But, how do you usually support me when I'm doubting myself? There's a lot of people who are low in confidence when it comes to running their business, and they have lots of doubts. They keep thinking, am I doing this right? Is this ever going to happen for me? And we often turn to our partners for support and their words of encouragement. And I know sometimes you don't know what to say, but how would you say that you do usually support me when I'm doubting myself?
Well, that's a tough question, because I know how I support you, but it's like,
I know too. You go and buy me a bottle of wine from the co-op on your way home from work.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that anyway. I make that moment so that I am able to check in, because a lot of the time there's so many things getting told to me that I do switch off, and I don't mean it, but like
You forget a lot.
I do forget a lot. But then when I can see that Joanne's like in a bad way or whatever, that's when I check in properly.
Do you know what? You always make me feel like it's going to happen, and one thing that I think I am so grateful of is that you constantly encourage me to chase my dream. And yet we've had conversations where we've said, if this doesn't work within the next 6 months, then we're going to have to look at alternative solutions. But you've never once said this isn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly. I've never said that, but I've only ever said, like, what if you get like a side job just to do you until things get off. But it's these conversations that you have with each other that are quite difficult. At the end of the day, if you want it so bad, you've got to try and, without obviously causing a divorce, like push through it and convince each other that it's going to be okay. Like,
yeah, you've both got to be the ones to sort of pull each other up, haven't you?
Yeah.
When you're feeling like it's never going to happen.
Sorry about that, everyone. I just farted on the interview. That's not very good, is it?
God's sake. Oh my God. Whether do I cut that out or not?
No.
Anyway, would you ever want to run your own business?
I would, but it'd have to be absolutely right for me. It would have to be something that I don't see as just a job. It'd have to be something that, like for example, I love my music and I love my YouTube, like Joanne's mentioned, but the content would have to be absolutely right so that I could just keep it going. I'd like an automated business.
Because you get bored quite quickly. You do?
I do, but doesn't everyone?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I think you find it quite difficult to stick at something if you don't get the immediate results.
Yeah, that's the thing, which is why it'd have to be something that I wouldn't see as that. I'd have to just have it as something that, like, sort of is a hobby and then builds itself up over the years.
I just want to talk quickly about YouTube. I don't want to bore everybody, but it is an important platform, isn't it, to help get your business out there. So, in a nutshell, can you use your expertise, my darling, and tell people about YouTube and how they can use it for their business and why they should use it? Because if anyone's your man to tell you this, it is Dave, trust me.
Okay, so it's very simple, really. The aim is to get like 1,000 subscribers and about 4,000 minutes, I think, of viewing time. I think. Don't quote me, but that's just what last time I checked. But once you've done that, you're entitled to monetization. So that's step one.
What does that mean?
Monetization is where you get automated money through Google Ads and
Right, okay.
things like that. But
so that's 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there.
Oh yeah, I've only got 62.
But you have to.
I think you're one of them, and my sister's the other.
Yeah, well, I had an art channel. I only got to 60, didn't I? But I think there's lots of uses for YouTube, but mainly it's to be more interactive with people, because people haven't got time to just read nowadays. Like, some people do, but a lot of people are on the go all the time. They need to listen to something, or they need to see something while they're on the bus, or that kind of thing.
But say like you haven't got the desire to sort of chase numbers, and you don't want to get to 1,000 followers. What can they do in the meantime just to use YouTube as a way to promote their business?
Well, if you are a creator, obviously you don't want to show people how to create
your stuff.
Yeah. But what you can show them is little hacks, like
give us an example.
Making something for your kid. Make a little, I don't know, a springy like thing that jumps up and down for your kid, just for fun. I don't know what people do, but it's.
I don't know if anyone makes springy things that jump up and down for the kids.
No, but
isn't YouTube just a search engine like Google? So it's really important, isn't it?
Well, YouTube it's Google, but just videos.
So it's really important to put content on YouTube
mm-hmm.
so that you get discovered on Google.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, why am I not doing this?
I don't know. I keep asking you.
Because I've got no time.
I keep asking. Yeah, exactly. Time. You got to make your time.
Well, I'll tell you something. This will be interesting to people, right? So I did open a Her Handmade Hustle YouTube channel, and honestly, I've not done much with it at all. My podcast gets uploaded directly onto it, and without doing anything, I have got to 62 subscribers. I've not promoted it, like nothing. So that's not bad, is it? That's kind of like
it's not bad
in the background.
It's not bad considering you pay no effort to it. If you were paying effort to it, you'd probably be more into like 200.
That's pretty shit if you were putting effort into it.
Well,
no,
yeah,
I'm not. I haven't got the time.
The problem is, like, with any self-employment now is the internet is just saturated with things.
Yeah, it's oversaturated, isn't it?
So I think, like, also bringing it back a peg to what it used to be like, and going to fairs and creating, contacting like publishers and that kind of thing.
That's how I got seen. I always say this to everybody: go right back to basics and get yourself to Sainsbury's, get yourself to Tesco, go to the magazine aisle and look at the magazines you want to be in and that you think your products could feature in, and write to the editors, email them.
Exactly. And I used to do pet portraits, during COVID, and actually, if I had carried it on, it probably would have done all right, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I had a good plan, because like what I did, I time-lapsed the pet portraits that I did. I'd have my GoPro camera above it on a stand. And the reason I did it was, as part of the cost, I would then send them this link to watch the video.
Yeah, of it being drawn.
And obviously it's just viewing for that person, but it would get me subscribers, and then I could sort of like promote the page that way. But
it's a really good idea, though.
Yeah.
If you'd have kept it up, I think you probably could have made a lucrative side hustle from it, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, God, it took forever, didn't it? You're drawing them down to the very last detail, so it was a big investment of time, which we all had during COVID because we were all at home.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy to do that. And Anita was only very little, so she slept like for long periods in the day, whereas now, no chance.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword. The internet's there, everything's very accessible, and absolutely use it. But also, don't forget about the real stuff. You need to be known to people, like physically.
This is what I tell my clients all the time.
Yeah.
It's so important that they know there's a person behind the brand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And not just some sort of spammer.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing you notice when you're self-employed is that everybody's got an opinion, right? Everyone's always saying, why don't you do this? And you should do this differently. And have you tried that? And actually, they haven't got a clue when they're not in the driving seat and running the business. So, I mean, I was going to ask you, right?
Me?
Yeah. What would you do differently if you were in charge of my business for a week?
Oh, man. I would probably really, really, really hit it home about the actual value they're getting and just be really straight with them.
What, to be a bit more straight talking?
Yeah, be a bit more straight
Am I
talking.
too nice?
You can be. There's moments when you really are a ball buster. Well, first off, I won't talk as if I know what the hell I'm doing, because I don't. But like in my day-to-day job, I get results. My ticket turnaround is very fast, and it's because I'm constantly chasing in emails. Now, I know that Joe says all the time, I feel like I'm mithering. Well, you are, but if you don't, you won't get what you need, which is that client interested, or aren't they? And it's very important just to chase and be a bit more direct, I think.
So that's what, yeah, you would probably be really good at that, because you always get results, don't you?
Yeah.
You always do. And you know, it was funny because I had an email today, and it was the fourth email that I'd received of this same person. She was a marketer who was after my money for some SEO stuff.
Yeah.
But she sent me this standard email 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another one this morning. It just said, oh, hello. Please, can you let me know whether or not this is something that you'd be interested in? And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to reply to her now, because it's 4 times she sent me this message. So I sent her back and I just put, oh, hi, thank you for your emails, plural. I'm kindly declining your offer.
Yeah.
Best of luck, Joanne. And I probably should have replied the first time, but you just get so many of them.
I mean, even if you turned around, if someone turned around to me and said, take the hint, douchebag, I'd go, all right then.
At least you've got an answer.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's okay to say take the hint, douchebag. Because,
because a lot of people are.
Because people are, aren't they?
Douchebags.
But,
Can't believe Edie said that the other day.
I know.
She called someone a douchebag. We've got to stop saying
What, straight up to him?
No, we were talking about it. She went, this particular person, she said, she's a douchebag. I was just like, oh God. I'm like,
She's a douchebag.
Yeah. So, maybe we should change our language. But anyway.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
I mean, I'll put it into perspective for you. What you want is for someone to see your name pop up on an email and they go, oh, for Christ's sake. That's what you want them to do, and that's my aim.
Well, you succeed in that, but I'm terrible at that. I'm not a mitherer. I know I'm not, because that's not who I am. But I like people to come to me, and sometimes with business, you do have to chase a little bit. Right, so we're nearing the end of our little discussion here, Dave.
Yeah.
And I wanted to resurrect a little game that we used to play before we had Eden, when we just met. And actually, it was really popular during COVID times, because I remember we used to play it on video call with our family members. And the game is called 5 Minutes with Dave. Now, do you remember how this works?
Oh, yeah, I remember how this works. Thing is, it puts me on the spot, the bugger.
Yeah, but that's the point. Oh. So I'm going to be asking you some questions, and you've got to just give me whatever answer comes into your head.
What if it's pretty bad? What if it's bad?
Dave is well known for his quite ridiculous answers. Would you say that was fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes, I would, yeah.
Are you just drinking beer in the middle of this podcast?
Yeah. I am now.
All right, so we used to play this game, right? So we'd ask him something. I mean, we were very worldly when we first met, so we used to have these conversations, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he'd come up with the most ridiculous answers, and I'd ask him something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's probably a bit better right now, to be fair. But we're going to play 5 Minutes with Dave.
Yep.
And it's going to be business related, okay?
Oh, right, okay.
So don't panic, okay? It's going to be funny. Don't panic. I'm going to ask you some questions, all right? 5 minutes.
Okay.
Probably a bit less, actually, because it might bore people. But, all right. All to do with business. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Dave. You always have to start each question with Dave. Do you remember?
Yeah. I remember that one.
Dave.
Yeah.
How many hashtags should I use on Instagram for the best engagement?
5.
Oh, damn it. Okay. That was an easy one to start with.
Is that right?
Between 5 to 10 is the answer. All right. Here's one for you. Dave. What's the difference between gross profit and net profit?
Gross. Net is your total. And gross is what you've got after it. The other way around, innit?
I need a better buzzer.
Yeah. It's the other way around, innit?
So your gross profit is what you've made after your direct costs have come out. However, your net profit is everything. Once everything's out, all your expenses, everything is what you're left with at the end.
Right,
okay.
It's the other way around. Yeah, okay.
Right, Dave. What does a CTA stand for? And what does it mean?
Can't trust anyone. Can't trust anyone. Guilty until proven innocent. That's my philosophy on life.
Right. Very good. But the correct answer is a call to action. You might have seen this somewhere on social media. Call to action is getting somebody to do something on your post, click here, shop now, whatever. But I do like yours better. What was it again?
Can't trust anyone.
Dave, what's an algorithm and why is it ruining my life?
An algorithm is that stupid thing that all the flipping social media platforms keep changing for whatever godforsaken reason that they freaking think that it's a good idea. That's what an algorithm is.
And why is it ruining my life?
Because it's stopping you from making bloody money.
Good answer.
Stopping you from reaching people, the buggers.
Dave, what does USP stand for? And a bonus point if you can say why it's important.
United Serial Practitioner.
I'm not even going to say close.
USP. I was thinking of a USB, to be honest with you, you stick in your computer to upload stuff.
The correct answer is unique selling point, and it's important for all businesses to have one because it's what makes them special and what makes them stand out.
Ah.
All right, Dave. What does ROI stand for?
Roy. Roy. Are you Roy?
Roy.
You all right, Roy?
No. ROI, it stands for a return on investment. So that is, what return are you getting for the investment you're putting into your business? So if you are always on social media, say you spend 3 hours a day bloody recording reels or filming yourself dancing around the street because you got an order, right? What is the actual return on that? Are you getting 6 more orders, so it's a good return on your investment of time, or are you getting 0?
Or are you just getting laughed at?
Exactly. Dave, what's my go-to excuse when I'm procrastinating? Do you know what procrastinating means?
Yeah, I know what procrastinating. It means delaying, you bugger. Procrastinating. What's your go-to excuse? I actually don't know. How do I not know? I don't know that one.
Dave, if I said I was batching my content, what do you think I'm doing?
Creating a batch of content.
Dave, what's a lead magnet?
You're chasing a lead, and then you got your lead, and then you're magnetised to it.
Actually, it's creating a freebie to attract email subscribers, yeah? I mean, I thought you might think it's a superhero gadget or something.
No.
All right. Last question. What is the difference between a reel and a story on Instagram? Oh, he's not an Instagram guy, are you? I'm interested to see what he says.
A reel is like a video, isn't it? It's like a video that sends a quick message. It's sort of almost like a meme, but a story is like just a still picture, really, isn't it? And there's freaking letters on it and stuff. And
oh my God, no one employed Dave to be your social media manager.
It just,
No. Reels are short videos, that stay on your feed. They're like part of your grid and they'll always be there. But a story is what appears in the corner where your profile picture is and it disappears in 24 hours. Yeah. Unless you save it to your highlights, of course.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the end of 5 minutes with Dave. Bloody hell, I'm exhausted.
That was a struggle. That was more like 10 minutes.
So before we finish, okay, I want to finish on a bit more of a heartfelt note, I'm obviously grateful for everything that... What are you looking at me like that for?
Well, you need to be grateful.
I'm obviously grateful for the support that you've given me with my business, yeah. It's meant a lot.
I'm
but
glad.
What do you admire about me as a business owner, Dave?
Persistence. Persistence?
I am persistent, yeah.
Doer.
I am a doer. Yeah.
You're a doer. You do action quite a lot of things, if I'm being honest.
I get shit done.
Yeah. You get shit done.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be polite.
You don't need to be polite.
You get shit done. And I mean, you don't procrastinate that much. There's the odd occasion, but not as much as me. You are a people person, as in, like, you're warm with people and you have this ability to get them to relate.
Thank you. I try.
You do it.
Thank you.
You do it.
Something I really admire about you, is that you are always there for me, right? No matter what shit has hit the fan, and we have had a lot of shit since we got together. Have we not?
Yeah.
Yeah. You always believe in me. Even when I'm doubting myself, and even when you are afraid and you think that maybe we're not going to pay the mortgage this month, or, you know, we're not going to be able to afford food on the table. One thing that I'm really grateful of, right, and you might not think this is a big thing, but it is to me, is that you always go to the post office for me and my orders when I can't be asked. You know, he just has an hour on his lunch or whatever, or he nips out to the car and say, "I can just take my orders," and he runs them into the post office for me, and that helps me massively. I don't think it does, but it just means that I don't have to stop what I'm doing, get up, get in the car. You just do it for me, and I'll be eternally grateful for that.
Yeah.
Plus, you were also my delivery man, weren't you, when I had this massive rush of Santa letters that year? Do you remember?
I remember.
And he literally went around the whole of the town where we live and he delivered them all for me by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Love you forever for that. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. He's itching to get on his PlayStation. He's probably got half an hour before bed now. So I'm going to say thank you for joining your wife on my podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it, everybody. It's hopefully been a bit entertaining, a bit insightful. Have you got any last words that you want to say to make people feel inspired and encouraged?
Just crack on. Don't overthink it. Just get on with it, and then I'm going to crack on now. I'm going to PS5. I'm off.
Thanks, Dave.
No worries.
Thanks to Dave, my one and only husband, for agreeing to come on the podcast tonight. I hope you found it entertaining at the very least. You know, we're knackered, we are a bit tired, but this is probably the most talking we've actually done in the last 6 years, to be honest with you. We're both exhausted now. So yes, I'm going to go and pour myself a glass of wine. And don't forget, if you do want any help with your small business, please do reach out to me. I'm here to help you. I'm working with some lovely ladies at the moment, a really nice variety of businesses, all beautiful products, and I am putting my heart and soul into helping them get seen and get their products out there. And we are getting results, and that's what matters, isn't it? So if you do need any help with your small business, you can visit the website, herhandmadehustle.co.uk, or drop me an email, herhandmadehustle@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. I love hearing from you. Or follow me on Substack. You will get a weekly article, and you'll also get a notification every time I upload a podcast. And if you really love me, please consider becoming a paid subscriber on Substack. It's just £6 a month, and for that you will get access to my chat room, so you can come and have a chat with me if you've got any business-related questions, and you'll also get an extra 2 bonus podcast episodes every single month. So do think about it. I will be eternally grateful. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast.